Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, it's Folktales Day with a difference, and here is your header. Back again after a long absence. It's felt like ages for me, and I am so sorry. I was supposed to come back yesterday with a video, but something came up and I couldn't. I've been away because I've had a very bad lymphedema flare-up. Affected just about everywhere. As some of you may or may not know, lymphedema can strike any area of the body, and this time it went not just for my legs and my feet, but it went for my tummy, my hands, my face. I was so swollen my eyes I couldn't see properly for days, and it's taken so long, it's to get everything to sort of like calm itself back down to some kind of vengeance of normality. Oh, I think I've used the wrong word anyway. That's typical of me. So yon top everyone, and I hope you're all well. And I have missed you terribly. I really, really have. Please don't think that it's out of sight, out of mind, because it's not. Now, as you know, today is Wednesday, and it's traditionally Folktales Wednesday. And something has come up that's been brought to my attention, and I didn't see it until I came back online. I think it was Monday. And it's this thing again where, you know what I'm like, I am fiercely loyal to a fault. Sometimes it can get me into trouble. But I'm fiercely loyal to my friends, and if you come for my friends unjustly, then I will say something about it. And I hate making videos about him. I hate talking about him. I hate thinking about him. I don't like to. If I can avoid him, I promise you I will, and I do. But he who shall not be named, yes, you've guessed it, the Rewired Soul has reared itself again. And this time he decided that it would be really good fun to tell the other atrocious lie, which he contradicted himself about later. You know, about this hypersexuality nonsense? Well, it's not nonsense, it's part of the schizoaffective disorder, which he poo-pooed and then suddenly decided that it was a real thing. But a week ago, and like I said, I was out of the picture at that point. I'm a week late to the party. But a week ago, he thought it would be a really good idea to put out a tweet on Twitter, to send his stands over to hate on my friend Gary of Bipolar Corner, his second channel, Gary Unfiltered. He sent them over to them to tell them and to remind them that Gary was a sexual pervert. Now, I put that to bed ages ago. Gary has schizoaffective disorder, and he's got different kinds of meds now, and he used to have a problem with hypersexuality, which goes along with the disorder, right? That's now, as far as he's concerned, a thing of the past. He's got new meds, he's had, change in his therapy and what have you, and the lad is very, very happy with his fiancée. Right, so we put that to bed. And this all stems from a live stream from months and months ago, where Gary was offering his help to anyone who suffered with the same disorder as him, who also suffered from hypersexuality. Right? He said, contact me, I'm more than willing to talk to you about it. Gary has no ulterior motives. He is very, very much in love with his fiancée. Right? Let's just get that out there. He is very much in love with his fiancée. He has no interest in other women. So for this man, and I use the term very loosely, to put it about yet again, months later, that Gary is some kind of sexual pervert, that all he wants to do is get in and talk to women inappropriately about sex, is a blatant lie. Now, none of us are stupid. We all know that the Rewired Soul watches every video that's got his name on it, right? And I've put out more than I'm happy with amount of videos about him, because I don't like doing it. And he cannot come for me and say, I'm doing it for money and I'm doing it for views, because A, I'm not monetized, and B, you know, I'm an incredibly tiny channel compared to him, and I'm not really that well noticed. I've got to thank Primink, to be honest with you, for getting me known. You know, I mean, in the last few months he's gone for Primink, accusing Primink of gaining from his name. Primink has made 3 videos on the guy. One, because he talks about people of interest. 2, to answer the accusations that Chris Boutte put out against him. And the third and last one was to talk about the cancelled with one L autobiography so far of this woe is me character, to answer the whole chapter 9 that was based on him. So he's not obsessed with him. You know, Primink hasn't got an obsessive nature. I actually find him to be a really decent lad. You know, he's got his ups and downs like everybody else does. But I don't feel my skin crawling when I think of Primink. So today I'm doing my own ad-lib version of a much-loved folktale and fairy story. And yes, I am going to have a cigarette today because the anger has been sitting with me since Monday. And any time I get stressed or tensed up or what have you, it has a knock-on effect with me physically. I get my muscles, my tendons, everything gets all tensed up, so do my joints. And then I'm left in a tremendous amount of pain afterwards. So, as you can imagine, I don't like putting myself into a situation where I can feel like this. But I did say months and months ago, if you go for my friends, then I will have something to say about it. And here I am yet again. So, let's not kid ourselves. Chris, I know that you will watch this, and I challenge you to take me on. There, I've thrown down the gauntlet. I want to make it clear, Chris, I don't particularly want to engage you. I don't particularly want to talk to you. You make my skin crawl. You really do. And I mean, you've got personal with people. You got personal with Gary. Would you like it if I got personal with you? Really? So I welcome you now. There it is on the table. There, my kitchen table. Come and have a debate with me, Chris Boutte. Do it live. Take me on. And I'm warning you up front, you will regret it. You will regret it. But I'm willing you, I'm asking you, take me on in a live stream, in front of everybody. Just do it. And see if you can refute any of the accusations that I put at your door. Because I'm older than you. I'm old enough to be your mother, Sonny. And I have been round the block more times than you've had hot dinners. I've had more experiences of life than you've had. I've been through a hell of a lot more than you've had to deal with. And I haven't turned out to be one of the most objectionable human beings I've ever had the displeasure to come across online. There are only 2 people on the whole of the internet that make me actually feel like my skin's crawling, that make me feel anger, that make me feel that I just despise. One of them's John Cookian, and the other one is you, Chris Boutte. Now, I've had my fall-ins and falls out with people on the internet over the years. I've got friends that I made from back in 15 years ago. I still talk to them even now. Good, close, strong friends. Others have been friends for fleeting moments. And I've made my share of mistakes, but I am telling you, I can sit with my conscience clear and say, I have made my mistakes. I have my regrets. If I could go back and change things, of course I would. I'm no saint, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't deliberately tell bare, blatant lies about people to tear down their reputation and their character the way you have done with Gary. What you did in that tweet was unforgivable. You owe him a huge apology. But do you know something? I'm going to tell you now. I was talking to a friend of mine, Mary Beth Wiley, the other day, and she says, I wonder if he'll ever really apologise to anybody that he's hurt. And you know something, Chris? I've got a bet on with Mary Beth Wiley that the day you sincerely and abjectly apologise to every single person that you've hurt, I will send her a bottle of the best British wine that I can find and send it to her priority airmail. But I think she thinks she's going to be waiting a hell of a long time. And so do I, quite frankly, because you can't apologise. You can sit there and say, I've royally fucked up and this, that, and the other, but you don't mean it. You don't back up your so-called apologies with actions, because there are words which are cheap and then there are actions which mean more. They carry more weight. And you have no integrity. You have no honour. You are a worthless piece of... You're just a waste of skin and breath to me. And I can say that because you have deliberately gone out of your way to hurt good friends of mine. People who do and still do suffer with their mental health. That cancelled book that you wrote, that piece of rubbish that if it was in print wouldn't be fit to wipe anybody's backsides, because it should be renamed My Woe Is Me book. My Poor Chris book. You went after my friend Jason and Steph, another friend, and Gary. Who's next in your list? But I tell you what, if you want to make it me, I'm all for it. Do you know something? What's it the Americans say? Just bring it. Just bring it. I will happily take you on. Happily. And I won't back down. The only thing that will get in the way of that is if I'm ill at the time. But once I'm better, I'll be back. And I'll take you on anytime. You just name it. We're in different time zones. I can stay up all night if I have to. But you know what? You said the other day that you've got, 2 jobs now and you've still got YouTube going on. Do you know how greedy can you get? You say you've got to make a living with and do things for your beautiful girlfriend Tristan? Is that actually what you call it? Is she going to get her name changed by deed poll to my beautiful girlfriend Tristan? Because why can't you just call her Tristan? Just like say, my girlfriend Tristan. I was saying to Tristan, everything is my beautiful girlfriend Tristan. I'm beginning to wonder if she actually exists. I'm actually beginning to wonder if she really exists. Or did she tell you when you met her, you have to call me my beautiful girlfriend Tristan or I won't go out with you? Is that how much of, you know, a lapdog you are? Or is she just your imaginary friend? I'm not quite sure. Now, I'm sure you would do us all a favour if you would just stick to doing the 2 little jobs that you've got and take yourself off YouTube, because you would stop an awful lot of people going through an awful lot of heartache, because you are dangerous. You can lie and say that you've never told anybody to come off their medication, but you have, because you did it with Suboxone, I believe. You told people to come off that. You said it was useless. You've told people to come off their medication and go on to mindfulness and try BetterHelp, which, as we all know, BetterHelp's just a scam, because you don't know who you're getting at the other end of the phone. And you still promote BetterHelp to this day. But you don't have the guts to say, try BetterHelp, do you? No, it's tryonlinetherapy.com. Because you're gutless. You hide behind it. And it's your books that you charge and then you give away, and then you charge and then you give away. You don't know where you're at. You contradict yourself more times than you can shake a stick at. You lie. You manipulate. You get people to try and feel sorry for you. And the whole time, and I'm going to say this now to anybody who happens to be a stan of yours who's watching this, you are just a view to him. You are a $ to him. Make no bones about it. His last video was all about, this is the sort of money that I make compared to how much I used to make. That's all he's concerned about. At the height of when everything went down, all he was concerned about was adpocalypse coming. There were no, you know, Trisha Paytas got a 15-second apology, and the rest of the video that was supposed to be my apology to Trisha Paytas was all about himself. So I'm not letting you get away with what you've said about Gary. And you better believe, if you go after any other of my friends, or if I see you going after anyone unjustly, I will be back again and again and again. And the only way you're not going to see me is if you put, I'm not interested in this video or what have you. But, you know, I'll find ways of getting it seen. So people will talk about it, whether you like it or not. So, with it being Folk Tales Wednesday, I decided today that I'm going to ad-lib my own little version of a story based on the troll under the bridge and the Billy Goats Gruff. Now, I don't know whether you've known this story, Chris, but it's been very popular in Britain. I don't know about America, but it's basically based around 3 little goats who want to go over a bridge, but a nasty troll comes up and gets them and stops them going over. But he eventually gets his comeuppance. So here's my version of it. And as you all know, Haveners, I don't read from a script. I very rarely go from here. I normally come from here. But today, I'm hoping that I connect here and here and make everything make sense. So here goes. Here's my version of the Three Billy Goats Gruff and the troll who was under the bridge. Once upon a time, there were 3 clever friends, and their names were Jason, Steph, and Gary. And they were very, very good friends of a wicked witch who wasn't quite so wicked. She was more like weird. Let's put her as sometimes wicked, but more than often than not weird friend who lived in the forest called Hedda Gold. And she normally just would sit in the house and she'd be on the internet and what have you, or sitting outside in our garden passing the day. And they'd call on her and have a cup of tea and what have you and have a bit of chat. And everybody was happy and everybody would skip off merrily into the sunset. But there was a bridge between Hedda's house and where they lived. And unfortunately, living underneath this bridge was a troll. And he had two names. He was either known as the Rewired Soul or Chris Boutte, where he would take problems and find solutions, whereas the thing was, he was the problem, and our solutions of please leave the internet and YouTube weren't seen to be working at the moment, but keep in mind we're still working on it. Well, Jason decided one day that he wanted to cross the bridge to come over to see Hedda. Now, Jason had done an awful lot of good things for Chris Boutte, and he'd looked after his Facebook page, he was answering all the comments, he was doing lots and lots of things for Chris, and all he asked for in return was for Chris to sort out something for him. And Chris decided to turn on a pinhead and have a go at Jason for no good reason. He attacked Jason in the middle of his recovery, so much so that it made Jason relapse. And that's what he did to Jason. And Jason was so sad that he couldn't cross the bridge to get to see Hedda that day. The following day, Hedda's other friend, Steph, who was very clever and very good at writing, and she had her own blog. She'd met Chris, and she thought he was a nice person. She honestly thought he was going to help her. And she would write blogs about him and talk about him and do as much good as she could for him. Until she asked for help, and he turned against her as well and made her life a misery. And made her second guess herself. And she had her own problems and issues to deal with. So Chris wasn't very nice to her either. And that made her very sad. And she couldn't cross over the bridge to go and see our friend Hedda that day. And she went off and went back home. Very sad. But then there was the third friend. And he was called Gary. And Gary was very clever, just as clever as Steph and Jason. And Gary was so clever that he could see right through the troll. He could see right through Chris. And he'd been warning people for months, be wary of this man. And nobody would listen to Gary. Gary was shouting from the rooftops, be wary of this man. And what did this man do to him? What did this troll do to him? He told everybody that Gary was a very nasty person and that he could go and upset ladies. Which wasn't true. None of it was true. He tried to destroy Gary's good name and tried to destroy his character and go for his integrity. But Gary had his head screwed on the right way, because Gary has kept bouncing back and won't take no for an answer. And he was the one who made the first call to say, this guy is not all he claims to be. And the day that he was able to finally cross the bridge to see his friend Hedda was the day he was vindicated, when hundreds and hundreds of people finally decided to listen to Gary, listen to his advice, and see things for themselves through fresh eyes. And then they realised what the troll was really like. that he was narcissistic, that he was manipulative, that he spoke with forked tongue. He said one thing and did another, that he contradicted himself, that all he wanted out of people was their money. He didn't really want to help anyone. The videos he started out with, because that's what he did, was make videos. And the videos he started out with were with good intention. But when he realised they weren't making him much money, he decided the next best thing to do was to do what other people were doing and look at celebrities and look into their lives and work out solutions to their behaviours. But instead of leaving it at maybe one or possibly two videos about the person, he did 50 plus videos on one and 17 videos on another one, to the point where she was in tears begging him to stop, and he wouldn't stop. And people could finally see that he was only in it for the money, where he would charge for courses that you could get for free on the internet, $99, and then suddenly they were free, or you could pay for 4 installments that would come to $120, things like that. And yet he says that he does all these things for no reward. Isn't that funny? He does everything he can to help people, with no reward for himself. We don't trust people who talk like that. So the ending of the story is that Gary was listened to, and Jason was able to find his voice and speak out, and he was listened to, and he got his confidence back, and now he's back on the road to recovery and to where he needs to be, and he's making excellent progress. And Steph has found her voice and is back to where she needs to be, and that's fantastic news. And Gary has had the satisfaction of knowing that his voice has finally been heard. The people's eyes have been opened, not all of them yet, but there will be one day. And when they all came, all 3 of them, to sit and have tea with their weird witchy friend Hedda, she said, "It's all right, friends, because one day we will see justice done. And all we can do at the moment is make sure that the troll sits quietly underneath his bridge." And Hedda thought it would be a really nice gesture, in order so that the troll wouldn't feel lonely. She took on the idea that he should have a pet of his own. And as all pets tend to look like their owners, she bought him a bloodhound. So the troll would take his bloodhound out every day for a walk. And hopefully, we're hoping that one day he walks so far away from YouTube and away from the internet that we never ever have to hear from him ever again. The end. And that's basically all I've got to say on that. Now, I know it's been a different folk tales for you today, folks. I will get back to normal next week, but I hope you all understand why I had to say what I said today. And that goes for any one of you who decides to stand up for yourselves against a bully. If you need me to speak for you, then just tell me and I will do it willingly. As long as it's justified, then I will do it for you willingly. My friends, never ever need any fear of speaking alone and being bullied and feeling all alone with no one to back them up. I won't tolerate that. Now, my friend Mary Beth Wiley, she's a grown woman and she can talk for herself. But Mary Beth, as you know, if he is going to be so unwise as to try and take you on, then I'm going to have a word with him about that as well. So, but I know you can handle yourself. But, you know, there's progress when you've got numbers. Adds bit more weight. So, my friends, I'm sorry it's been such an up and down kind of video today. I haven't got all the energy to do all the things I was going to say, because this last health thing has really taken it out of me. But I hope I've got the message across. And if he does decide to take up my offer of a live stream to discuss matters, believe you me, I will have it broadcast everywhere. And I hope that everyone comes and watches. Because I will be there. There will be no excuses on my part. The only one will be is if I'm not physically not well. But you know what? Even if I'm sat in my nightie and dressing gown, if I've got the opportunity to have a one-on-one with this guy, trust me, I'm going to take it. Because I'm not frightened of him. He doesn't frighten me. He makes my skin crawl. And that's all I've got to say about that. So, on that happy note, I am going to wish you the happiest Wednesday that you can possibly have. And, oh God, have you seen the state of my roots? Jesus. It'll be a long time before I go totally silver yet. I am not ready to adhere to that side of my life sort of going downhill. I'm taking 50 odds as the new 30 odds. So, you know, what's a little bit of silver thrown in? I wish I'd have gone here, then I would have looked more fantastic, I would imagine. Not that I looked fantastic in the first place, you know. But there you have it. I will be with you on Friday for your Friday night spooky sessions. I don't know what I'm going to read out for you. I've got to make sure that everybody's happy with what I'm reading first. But I will be here on Friday. And I will see you all then. In the meantime, I love you all. Please take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I love you all very, very much. Bye for now, darlings.